There are actually two ways to program this remote, the direct code entry and the auto code search. I'm going to cover both of those in this video, and I'll put timestamps in the description below. I'll also post other links like where you can go to see the codes if you've lost your codes and where you can actually see the remote. All right, so let's get started with direct code entry. Now that is a method where you physically look up the codes with the provided list, or I'll post a link in the description below. Now this remote is a 3 device, which I believe is a good balance covering TV, streaming, and audio. Many of these smaller remotes like this don't support audio, so I'm glad this one does. It also has support for DVD and Blu-ray players, which I'll be talking about in a minute. Now I'll be programming in a Sharp TV, a Roku streaming device, and a Bose soundbar. If you're finding any value in this video, please click that like button below and subscribe to this channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. So I'm going to use the codes that I've already looked up for my devices. Press and hold the setup button until the red light stays on. We're going to press and release TV because that's what we're working with first is the TV. Now I'm going to try the first code from the list, and that's going to be 6011 for the Sharp TV. Now I've already tested that code and it turns out it works great. By the way, I pressed this stream button right here, and that did bring up the Netflix app on my TV, but if your TV has separate buttons for YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever, this may not work correctly since you've only got one button here. Now, if you've already gone ahead and tested functions like mute, channel up and down, volume, and all that, and everything is working as expected, then great, you're ready to move on to the next one. But if some of those work and some of those don't work, you'll want to try the next code from the list. You'll want to keep doing that until you either find a code that works correctly or you've exhausted all the codes in the list. Now, if that happens to you, stay tuned because I'm going to do the auto code search and that might help too. Next is going to be my Roku 3 streaming device. Same thing, press and hold setup until the red light stays on. This time we're going to push STR for streaming, and my code is 2014. Okay, I've already tested this code and it works just perfect. Now, by the way, not all Roku streaming devices are compatible with IR remotes. If you have, for example, one of those 4K streaming sticks that goes behind the TV, I believe those are RF control remotes, and that's not going to work with this because this is a IR remote. They are also not very compatible with the HDMI-CEC. However, if you have an Amazon Fire Stick, that is compatible with the HD-CEC, and I use mine all the time. And very quickly, let's do the Bose soundbar. Same thing, press and hold setup, AUD, and the code for Bose is 0466. Okay, now I tested that code and it works fine. But here's a couple of quick notes I wanted to mention. The remote list has codes for DVD and Blu-ray players, even though there's no device button for them, okay? You can program any of these buttons to any device. It doesn't have to be what's on the label. So for example, if you have a Blu-ray player and you want to program it in there, but you don't have a soundbar, you can put that on the AUD button to control your Blu-ray or any of the other buttons too, for that matter, okay? So that's a good thing to note. And also, as I mentioned earlier, you'll want to check all the functionality of your devices and your codes and all that. If you find one that you're not happy with, then go through the list again and try the next code. Or let's try the auto code search, and that may work for you as well. So what the auto code search does is it'll send out 10 codes at a time until it goes through the entire database. If your device happens to be near the end of the database, this could take a little while, so patience is going to be required here. You'll want to start with your device turned on, and you'll want to keep the remote pointed at your device the entire time you're sending out codes because you don't want to miss a code. Then you'll have to go through this all over again. You'll want to press and hold the setup button till the red light stays on. Then we're just going to do a TV in this hypothetical example. So we'll press TV, and then we'll press power. Notice the red light flashing. That's going to send out the first batch of 10 codes, okay? Nothing happened. Let's hit it again. Okay, so the TV just turned off, hypothetically, of course. What you'll want to do is press volume up, and that will send out the first of the last 10 codes. And then you'll keep doing that up to 10 times, okay? Let's say it's the third one. The TV just shut off, okay? That's great. Now press TV, because that was the device that we were working with, and that will store the code. Then, of course, you'll want to go through and check the functionality of that code. And if you find the same thing as I mentioned before, if some of the functions work and some of them don't, you'll want to go through this again, next time stopping on the second code, because we already know the first one doesn't work because we just tried it. Now, if you keep going through this procedure and you still don't have any luck and you've tried all the codes that it's going to work on, then this remote isn't going to work for you. Unfortunately, it's not a teachable remote, so you can use your original remote to program any missing functions. You can do the other two devices the same way I just showed you there. Now, I noticed that when I put my Roku streaming device in there, the TV volume would still work the TV even though it was in stream mode. But when I put the soundbar in there, I had to switch over to audio mode to make the volume work on the soundbar. So there's a way to lock the volume to your audio. That way you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. So as before, press and hold setup. Now you want to press the device button that you want to lock the audio to. So AUD. And then mute, and volume up. All right, we got two flashes right there. Now, if you want to undo that, just do the same thing I just showed you, except press mute and then volume down. Now, that's about it. Now, if you feel like you've just messed everything up and you want to start over and do a factory reset, press and hold setup, press mute, and 0. And that'll erase everything and go back to factory settings. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful. Thanks for watching.